Christmas is a season that goes beyond the dazzling decorations and festive lights. It is a celebration deeply rooted in love, family, and poignant reflection. As families gather around the warm glow of the fireplace and share laughter over festive feasts, the essence of Christmas becomes a manifestation of the bonds that unite us. It is a time when love transcends material gifts, and the joy of giving is found in the simple act of being together. However, amidst the festivities, Christmas can also be a bittersweet reminder of those who are no longer with us. The empty chair at the dinner table and the absence of familiar voices may evoke a sense of nostalgia and longing. Yet, in this reflection, we find an opportunity to honour and cherish the memories of our loved ones, celebrating the enduring spirit of family and the power of love that connects us all. In 1991, Christmas took a devastating turn for a family from Indianapolis, USA, when one of their own vanished on Christmas morning, only to be discovered lifeless later that day under perplexing circumstances. Melissa Missy Kessinger, born on May 30th, 1968, to parents Alvin Kessinger and Verda Scott, was a cherished single mother of two from Indianapolis, Marion County, Indiana. Missy was surrounded by 4 sisters and 2 brothers. In 1988, tragedy befell the Kessinger family when one of Missy's brothers, Stephen, who was a construction worker, lost his life in a road traffic accident at the tender age of 21. His passing left an indelible mark on the Kessingers, and little did they anticipate that another tragedy would strike just 3 years later. At the age of 23, Missy was characterised as beautiful and affectionate, earning the adoration of her 2 children, Antoine and Tia, with whom she shared a home on the 400 block of North Illinois Street. On Christmas Eve of 1991, Missy enjoyed time at her father's residence on the 400 block of North Ketchum Avenue, joining her siblings in the celebration of the festivities and eagerly anticipating a joyous Christmas day. As recounted in a post on Melissa's memorial site, her sister recalled the events of that night and the subsequent morning when Missy mysteriously vanished around 5:30 a.m. on her way home. Her intention was to deliver a gift to a friend before heading back home, with plans to return to her father's house for Christmas celebrations with her loved ones. Unfortunately, she never made it back. Christmas Eve, 1991. Melissa, Nikki and I stayed at Dad's for Christmas with Dad and Alan. We watched TV, we laughed, we played, we ate, we aggravated one another. Next morning, Christmas morning, we all wake 5-ish, so happy and excited as we were little, and Christmas used to be a happy day. We open presents. Afterwards, Missy decides to take gifts to a friend about 5:30 a.m. She asked if I could go and walk with her and stay the night. Dad says if I could get a hold of my mum, and she says yes, I could go. Well, Mum didn't answer, so Missy left and said she would come back in a couple of hours to get me. We played all day with our new stuff. Played in the snow, laughed and played with Dad and everyone around. Darkness came and Missy still wasn't there. Mum came to pick us up and we kept waiting, thinking she would soon return. Instead, a cop came for my dad to go identify her and asked all of questions. She had been murdered in the morning, and no one knew until they found her laying up against a tree in Memorial Park, downtown Indianapolis. On the early afternoon of Christmas Day, December 25th, 1991, a man walking from the Indiana Purdue University campus to church for the Christmas service stumbled upon a disturbing scene in the snow. While passing through Military Park on the south side by West and Ohio Streets, the man discovered the lifeless body of a woman seated beneath a tree, clad in a red sweater and a pair of jeans. Immediately alarmed by the unsettling sight, he promptly alerted firefighters at a nearby station adjacent to the park. City homicide detectives were alerted around 12:45 p.m. and promptly arrived at the scene for investigation. A grey coat was discovered, although reports from the time were uncertain about whether it belonged to the victim. 2 firefighters present at the scene suggested that the woman had sustained abdominal trauma, possibly from a vehicle collision. Newspaper accounts also hinted at a potential gunshot wound to the victim, later identified as 23-year-old Melissa Kessinger. According to the coroner, Missy's cause of death resulted from multiple blunt force trauma injuries that were consistent with a vehicular impact. However, in a disturbing turn, someone had moved her after the collision, propping her body against a tree in nearby Military Park. This intentional act, coupled with the perpetrator's failure to come forward, classified the case as a homicide. Notably, this incident marked the city's 100th homicide in 1991 alone. Military Park, where Missy's body was found, was only 2.5 miles away from her father's residence. Missy was occasionally known to hitchhike around Indianapolis, making it not uncommon for her to accept rides from strangers. It's plausible that the person she encountered on that fateful day could be connected to her untimely demise, although this remains a topic of much debate. Following a public appeal for information, the police received a witness account indicating that Missy was spotted at the intersection of West Michigan Street and White River Parkway, West Drive, at around 6:45 a.m. on Christmas morning. At the same intersection, a dark-coloured car was also noted. Authorities believed that the occupants of the vehicle might have witnessed something significant related to Missy's death. However, it remains unclear whether the driver or passengers were ever identified, traced, or questioned. Reports suggesting a gunshot wound were infrequent, and considering that no gunshot wound is mentioned in Kessinger's death certificate, such claims should be approached with caution. The most likely scenario appears to be that Missy was struck by a vehicle and left for dead on the morning of her death. However, without conclusive evidence or indications of other fatal or contributing injuries, certainly is elusive. It's plausible that the mention of a gunshot wound may have been a false narrative circulating in the media at the time, lacking any sustenance. Missy found her final resting place at Washington Park East Cemetery, near her brother Stephen. Grief manifests uniquely for each individual, and for their father, Alvin, songwriting became a means to navigate his own sorrow. He penned a song titled "She Was Searching for a Dream," performed by Doug DeBon, encapsulating Melissa's quest for love and the tragic circumstances of her death. With no leads and no suspects, this case swiftly went cold. Regrettably, there is limited public information about this case. With increased exposure, there is hope that some semblance of solace can be provided to Melissa's family. Despite the lack of recent investigations, it's crucial to affirm that Missy has not been forgotten and her case has not faded into obscurity. As of 2024, the mystery surrounding this case persists and it remains unsolved. Those with any information regarding the death of Melissa Kessinger are urged to contact Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana at 317 262 8477.